would an advertisement that sort of boasts that a brand is loved. So I saw an ad in the T-Mobile store a couple of days ago, and the ad said that T-Mobile was the most loved brand in wireless. So given that, brand love entails a little bit of at least a perceived exclusivity, how does me knowing, well, everybody loves this brand, would that in any way decrease my brand love?
Well, if you're not a T-Mobile user and haven't thought about it before, one of the pieces of information that might be valuable to you is to learn that other people are loving it. I mean, it's sort of like an icebreaker. It says, well, maybe there's something here and I ought to be open to it. Because I don't own it now, I may be closed to it. And, I'm happy with the phone I have. Or, as often happens for some people, I'm ambivalent about the phone I have. So they're a little more vulnerable. And if I learn in the early part of the ad that, that it's one of the most loved brands, and then it makes me think, creates a tension, cognitive dissonance. It makes me think, first of all, is it really one of the most brand loves? Are they just saying that because they're trying to promote their brand? That's an initial thought that some people might have. But then they might think, well, maybe there's something to this. I wonder what the reason is that other people love it. Maybe in the rest of the ad, near the end, they're going to tell me what attributes or benefits that it has for me that my brand may not have. So that kind of love messages, it may open us up to being to listening more. It may make us think about our current brand and in what ways are we happy or unhappy with it. And then it may make us be able to evaluate what they say in the ad, because they're making some pitch about what it is about T-Mobile that's good. Then I might be able to evaluate that better or think about it a little bit more than if they didn't say or communicate the love. Now, I'm assuming that, I haven't seen the ad, but I'm assuming that the ad is more than just saying those words. They may show a person, saying those words, but really somehow making love to their phone.
Showing affection.
But other kinds of vicarious or simulating the relationships people have, because people can be very excited about a brand, and other people could care less about it, and the people who care less don't love it. But the excitement of it can be one of the emotional expressions of their love for it. And so if the ad can point to those things, you don't have to say it literally often, though sometimes some should be said literally. If you can communicate it indirectly, sometimes we learn better indirectly because we don't counter-argue. When an advertiser comes straight on and tries to, with a hard sell, to convince you why their brand is better and that you really should use their brand, it's much better than what you're using. And the first reaction most people have is to counter-argue against that. I mean, it's a normal human thing that we don't do always consciously. It just happens. It's part of skepticism, natural skepticism. They want to overcome that if they can. And one way of overcoming it is blocking that thought. So putting in an ad some visual movement or a little bit of background noise, sometimes that temporarily inhibits the counter-argumentation and allows the message to get through just for a few seconds, a few moments. So that's another thing I think that can be put in the ad. But it's an art. And I think love is more than a psychological emotion that we can just study and measure, even though we try to do that. Involves a lot of artistic sides of things and beauty and things that are ineffable and hard to verbalize. But then we want to, how do we communicate that? And we do that in the advertisement, the words that we use, the music maybe, or the rhymes, the pictures that are there and how attractive they are or unattractive, so we don't want to, it's a holistic kind of thing. It's a difficult thing to communicate, I think, brand love, compared to all the other emotions which are very simple, So some people will say, I love this brand, but, and some people may really love the brand, but some that say those words are just using a figure of speech. I like this brand, but they're not liking it to the degree that someone that loves it maybe loves it.
Is there any influence as to whether the person perceives that there's reciprocity, that the brand loves them back, or is it purely one way,
Yeah.
one direction?
Well, that's a criticism that people in philosophy have made in terms of the possibility of loving objects, as a versus a person. Usually when in a relationship with a person, there really is reciprocity of many kinds back and forth. So the question is, can you really love an object? And a brand is an object, typically. But you can probably love it in the sense of perhaps the respect for its beauty, the sheer beauty of it and what it can do, and marvel at that. We can love it in terms of how it helps us stay connected in particular ways with other people, and how it becomes part of our shared life together with others, even though the object is inanimate. But it itself, to have reciprocity, would involve perhaps some fantasy. And certainly us humans do have fantasy reactions towards objects. It's not just people or other things. And so it's not out of the realm that some kinds of reciprocity and feedback from an inanimate object can be kind of fabricated by us, I think. But the most important is how the object fits within our life and in our relationships with other people that are meaningful to us in a love kind of way. That's where the marketer is striving for, to find that kind of relationship.
And certainly people sometimes anthropomorphize or humanize brands, right? So there's been research done on that and on the brand relationships that range from a fling to a committed relationship, and consumers really see the brand as almost human-like.
Yeah, people will use words to describe a brand they have as if it's a person, an old 7-Up advertisement said from a long time ago, but it was one of the most effective first ads. 7-Up soft drink. It said, "You like it, it likes you." As a child, when I heard that, I thought how silly that is. It's an object, it can't like me. But then, if you think about it a little bit more, it makes you, if you have indigestion and you burp, or the aftertaste, or other kind of things. In some ways, it's giving me something. So we can find meaning in almost anything, but it's something we have to do ourselves and work at, and we're usually not doing that in our busy everyday lives with most products and brands are mundane. How can someone really love a toothpaste, or a brand of milk or something like that? But there are ways of making it more attractive, but other brands have an advantage, luxury brands and other types of brands.
And as far as the company's bottom line goes, the brand love will typically translate into sales and
that we would like it to, and what we found is that the brand love leads to greater brand loyalty. Greater brand love leads to more of an inclination to do positive word of mouth, to talk more about the brand and how much you enjoy it, and to share your feelings about it with other people. So the greater the brand love, the greater that is done, and the stronger their intentions are. Sometimes few people may come to love a brand they never tried. And so for them, they're stronger their feelings of love for that brand, the higher the likelihood that they would intend to buy it, or the willingness to pay for it. So love can have those kind of implications for a company that increases market share against the competition. And that's a problem. The competition are always trying to get people to not love your brand, and to love their brand. So you have to always defend it. And sometimes that means you have to do comparisons with other brands. And there are many rules of thumb in terms of comparisons. You usually don't compare where one is really inferior in terms of even sales, because that often boosts the other brand. So there are many strategic decisions that could be made that need to be brought into the brand love relationships at the managerial level.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Bagozzi. That's been very insightful, and I certainly look forward to reading up on your future research on brand love and brand hate and all the related consumer emotions.
Thank you so much.